Let's welcome back to episode 2 of the third season of the toonTALK podcast brought to you by Magpie 24/7. I am joined today by a well-established co-host of this podcast, Jay. How are you doing, mate?
Happy to be here again. It was 6 weeks ago, I think. We had a long summer break, and
Yeah,
now I'm happy to be here. I'm fine, yeah. How are you?
I'm very good as well, thank you. Did you enjoy the break before football starts getting underway again?
Yeah, of course. And I'm happy we didn't do our football. Did we do our recap of the World Cup?
No, we didn't.
Yeah, better it is.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, there were some absolute howlers in there. But it was
So yeah,
also
I enjoyed the summer break, but I will be happy when the Premier League comes back,
mm,
and we have better things to talk about than rumors here and
yeah,
suggestions there and all these kind of stuff.
absolutely, so will I. And it is already this weekend that football is coming back, that the Premier League is coming back because most of football already is back. Championship football started last week. Belgian football, Dutch football started 2 weeks ago, for example. So the Premier League is always a little late when it comes to getting their league underway, but I don't know, it kind of builds anticipation for me, so I'm not too fussed about it. But like I said, this weekend is the opening weekend for the Premier League. We got Arsenal Coventry as the opening fixture, and on Sunday we open up our Premier League season against Liverpool. Um, Before talking about anything else in regards to transfers, how do you feel about this game? Are we ready?
I don't think so. So I think most of us heard Matthias Jaisle saying that we can't expect too much from the first 2 or 3 games,
Mhm.
and I think he wasn't happy with those many friendlies in exchange for training sessions. So
Completely
I
understandable,
think
to
we,
be
we
fair.
can expect the team to be nearly ready for the third or fourth game in the season,
Mhm.
especially because the first one is Liverpool, the second one is,
Spurs, I think.
yeah, so
Mhm.
no easy games for us. And take in consideration how our summer went, I think we have to be tough and strong for the
Mhm.
first 2 games at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you make a very good point there, especially with the amount of preseason games for right before the season started. You've got different teams like Brighton and Brentford who are more data driven. They only played one friendly each, so I think that says a lot. And the difference between us and them is stark. When we played a friendly on Sunday against Strasbourg and the day before on Saturday against Leverkusen. And I also just think it gives you even more opportunities to kind of make fun of yourself because in at this moment in time, Newcastle is in a period where a lot of the things we do are funny, which isn't necessarily a good place to be. But let's face it, whenever a club is in such a period, all of the other rival fans will relish in it and will take every opportunity they get to laugh at you. So when you're coming out of a summer where not only you've sold pretty much all of your best players, but in the Leverkusen game, after 20 minutes, we had to change shirts because the kit clash with Leverkusen, which meant that we were playing our salmon pink shirts on top of our home shorts and socks. So that looked absolutely disgraceful. And literally a day after that, we absolutely disgraced ourselves in one of the most shambolic penalty shootouts you will ever see. So that is really, really poor from us. And again, just keep a low profile, you know? Get Geisler on that training pitch, get him under, to learn and understand these players, but also get these players to learn and understand his way of playing, his system. I do think that happens on the training ground first before you start getting into games. And he had to deal with these friendlies almost immediately, like they were a burden, not something that was going to help him long term. On on Matthias Geisler, I suggest we cross over a bit to him before we move on to the Liverpool game and start previewing that one. We've talked a lot about him previously, but as our one and only German fan, I would like to hear your thoughts on Matthias Jijsele. Did you know him before he signed in as Newcastle boss, and what have you heard of him?
Yeah, so he played for Hoffenheim, and I think there was some fake news where they stated he played with Joe Linton together, but they were never in the same team. But yeah, I heard the name before, but he wasn't. I think it wasn't like a Bundesliga star, so it was no one you really recognized. But when he steps up as a Salzburg coach years ago, then you thought, yeah, okay, I heard this name in the Bundesliga before. I think he got injured early, so he ended his playing career early and came to Salzburg, and he made a name there, we would say, in Germany. So he left his footprint there, his fingerprint, and then there was this sudden change or his sudden transfer to Saudi, which is, I would say, quite unusual for a coach, especially for a young coach. Normally, you stay like as a German coach, being this young, like we saw with Julian Nagelsmann, for example. You normally stay in this German room, like Germany, Austria, Switzerland, maybe, and try to make your name there. But yeah, he went to Saudi Arabia and did a great job there too, like he did with Salzburg. And I heard, or I think, if I remember right, we talked about him, or not particularly us. We didn't talk about him, but he was they took him into regard when they hired Eddie Howe, if I'm right, or correct me if I'm wrong.
I saw the same reports, so I mean, yeah.
So he was on the sheet. His name was on the sheet when they tried to hire a new manager. Then we became Eddie Howe, and I think it was the right decision for the right time. Now 3 years, or nearly 3 or 4 years later, he had really good achievements in Saudi Arabia, and I think now it's the right time to change. I was always Eddie in, as you all know, and I would still be, but it's his decision. And like Dan Burnett said yesterday, I think change can be always good, change always can be bad, but I think we were in one of the worst conditions we ever were in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
like we don't want to mention the Ashley area, but if we look back on the last 5 years, maybe since the takeover or a year before, we were in our worst state, and so I think change can't be really bad in this situation now. I think, in my opinion, he is the right one, but you can clearly see why did they hire him. So we played this aggressive play style with Eddie as well. So it was Eddie's DNA, and it is in the Newcastle DNA in some way, that we want to play this aggressive football, this high pressure football. And you see, they don't search for a manager who is a completely different play style. Like, they don't want to change to play style to a coach whose play style will be ball holding and being in possession and being slow build up. So they try to search for a manager who is like Eddie Howe from his play style side, but being maybe different with the players and with some other approaches. But we kept this this like sort of Newcastle DNA. That's my point to him. But I don't want to do any predictions whether it will be good or not. But we will see. Time will tell. I think it's a good approach. He's a good coach, and I think we will have fun. But as we mentioned before, it was a really, really tough summer. Now we had the World Cup, players coming back in tranches, like 2 coming there, 1 coming there, 1 is on holiday still, and he comes in 2 days later. I think he has to play the first friendly, and all those friendly matches were so they decided to do these friendlies like 2 or 3 months ago, maybe, where they talked to all the other clubs and made it and fixed these games. So there was really no chance to say, no, sorry, we have to cancel all of that. So yeah, he has to deal with it, and he has to deal with the slow transfer market approachings we are currently in. But I think in the end, it could be a better season maybe than last year. But I don't want to do that deep dive now and expose myself afterwards.
That's completely fair enough, mate. I think, first of all, you've made a very good point about Matthias Gijsler's style of play kind of resembling Eddie Howe's style of play, because it does make the transition a bit more smooth when you're changing coaches, especially when you're changing a coach that has been at the club for nearly 5 years. That's always going to be a bit of a culture shock, so I completely understand that. And I do hope there are enough differences that he does make a difference as an appointment. As for how highly rated he is, I think in the Premier League before he came, pretty much nobody knew of him. But in the wider footballing space, he is extremely highly rated. He is one of the top prospect coaches in world football. He's won stuff everywhere he's gone. And okay, maybe not in too much competitive leagues, but still he's won stuff. With Salzburg, I think he's won 2 Austrian Bundesliga titles. With Al Ahly, he's won the Champions League twice. And okay, it is a Saudi cash-injected club, but at the same time, it wasn't the Saudi cash-injected club that the owners were kind of picturing was going to win the prizes. The prizes were going to go to Al Hilal and Al Nasser, but he actually came through with a really, really, really strong squad, strong style of play to conquer that Asian Champions League twice, in fact. So there is a lot of positives to look at, but there's also a lot of risks. Like you said, we are coming off of a very poor season, probably the worst position we've been in since the takeover. And even if we go back further than that, yes, the team was worse and the style of play was worse, but there also wasn't any ambition, so nobody was expecting anything else. Right now, the board continuously talks about Vision 2030 and getting back into Europe and getting into the Champions League. With that comes expectation, and with that comes expectation from both fans of the club itself and from rival fans. If you fail to live up to that expectation, that's when you become a laughing stock again. That's when people start throwing the small club mentality back at your face. So it is a very, very difficult spot to be in, to show ambition, be ambition, but not have it blow up back in your face. But I do think Matthias Gijsler is a very good appointment in that sort of direction. As for our transfer window, however, that leaves a lot more to be, maybe a lot more to be discussed, not necessarily a lot to be desired, but because I do think there are some very big positives from this window. But first of all, let's get into the main news. Today, Newcastle United announced the signing of Amar Dedic, so we finally have some cover in the fullback areas. Before talking about any other players we signed, what other positions do we still need, according to you?
I often hear that we need another striker, but I'm not sure. I would say if you look at the striker position, we have take Voltemade out because it seems like he wants to play him as a 10. Then we have with Wisa, who's really looking sharp in these friendlies. There's, I think, you see more the World Cup Wisa than the last season Wisa, and I hope he can transfer this to the season. We see Will Osula, who had a really great season and like his breakout season last year. And we have this young prospect like Sean Nave. I think Nave is spelled correctly, pronounced correctly. I think then you have 3 strikers. You have a veteran Visa striker. You have a young something like a young talent, or not even a young talent, but a proven talent like Will Osula, and you have this young prospect like Sean Nave. I think that you are really strong on this position. with three strikers in different kinds and different shapes. Midfield, I think we have to really look into that, like a central midfielder, whether it's, I think more, we do need more a defensive player like an offensive player. Um, I think we have some prospects on the sheet here for that. Yeah, the wingers, I have to take a look. We have Ramsey, we have Murphy and
Elanga on the right.
Elanga on the right side. We have Bazu and Barnes on the left side. Yeah, I think one for me, in my opinion, we could need another winger who can maybe play on both sides.
Yeah, I'd like
So
to see that.
who hasn't? Maybe he has a preferred side, but who should be able to play either on the left or on the right where we need him.
Yeah,
I think that would be a great addition to the depth of so if Bazu is there, you always have to start. Isn't there? You always have to start Barnes, or other way around. You always have to start Murphy if maybe Elanga gets injured for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So to have there another, and then if we don't want to expect that, but if Elanga is out maybe for 3 weeks, you always have to start Murphy. But who comes on from the bench? It must be then Ramsey, or we have to shift Osula to the right.
Yeah.
All these kind of things. I think it would be nice if we have there another option who can be at the third man behind those two.
Completely agree. Actually, I would like to see a winger come in as well.
And maybe center back. I don't want to deep dive into that, but I think another young center back would be a good addition because. Like Fabian Schär is always, and Botman as well, are both injury prone.
Yeah, completely agree.
Dan Burn won't get younger. So yeah, another young prospect maybe there would be good can learn from those veterans.
Agreed.
And be there if anyone.
Shane made the point last week that Gijsler does like to play with a high line as well, and I think 3 of our 4 centre backs are really, really going to struggle with that. Keeping up pace.
That's another where we can draw the circle, like to the Gijsler discussion before. That's one of my worries a little bit, I would say. In these terms, he's like Eddie Howe, and he likes to press high. He wants this high intensity football, and we saw where this high intensity football brought us. Like if we look back 2, 3, 4 years with Eddie Howe, it brought us really nearly on top of the Premier League. It brought us into the Champions League, and we made every team uncomfortable playing against us. But on the other hand, when we especially look into last season, it's like a player's burner. So you burn players on the field with this high intensity football. If you can't rotate enough, if you can't rest the players enough, if you have we had Champions League and so on, so there were really many games, but even if you only have Premier League, it's still really exhausting for the players if you can't rotate them. So if we keep this play style and we continue to play like this high intensity, we really need the depth in nearly every position, because otherwise it can be that you have another season of that where players always get injured, and we see it like actually Willock and Joe Linton, like, again, 2 midfielders who are out even in the friendlies now, and the Premier League hasn't even started. So yeah, that is one of my worries, that if he plays this kind of play style, that we aren't depth enough, that and haven't got enough depth in the roster.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair worry. I suggest we first talk about some of the potential players in those positions that are going to come in, and then maybe afterwards we can touch a little bit more upon Dedic and maybe some other signings you'd like to give your opinion on. And then afterwards we'll finally preview the Liverpool game. So first of all, in that midfield roster, which I do think is at this moment in time Newcastle's primary position of target, we've been linked with Højbjerg, who we talked about last week for a long while. Of course, because we talked about him for a long while, that transfer then fell in the water, because it always does. Since then, we have been linked with Palhinha, who doesn't necessarily seem to want to join us himself, but Bayern seem to have offered him to us. Always a bit wary when those kind of deals are going to come through, because that just to me means that he's not going to stick around for very long. But we've also been linked, very briefly, but still, with Carlos Baleba. And I do really, really like that signing. I mean, if we could, 1 year after Manchester United's mini obsession at the end of the window, sign Carlos Baleba for a reduced fee because of the season he had last season, which still wasn't poor, to be fair. He wasn't anywhere near his top level, but he wasn't poor either. That would be an absolutely brilliant fit, in my opinion. He is a game controlling midfielder, but he's also a game breaking midfielder. He's got the physical capabilities for the Premier League. He's got the running capabilities for the Premier League. He could be our 6 and our 8. He could be absolutely brilliant in a Newcastle United shirt. So I would love to see him come in. Are there any other midfielders you have seen us linked with over recent days, or what do you make of both of those two names?
Yeah, I think this morning I read something about Seiwald from
Yeah,
RB
saw that
Leipzig.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's talk first about the other both prospects. I think Palhinha, I really enjoyed him back in the days where he was at Spurs, I think, where he had his peak performance.
Fulham, and last season he was at Spurs on
Fulham
loan.
and then to Spurs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think his peak performance was with Fulham, and but his Spurs seasons weren't that bad. I think they were still good. And he had no chance at Bayern. I think he was injured, and then he was left out of the squad completely since then. And like I heard here in the news, and I think it was the same in England, that Vincent Kompany doesn't plan with him. But I also heard, he first wanted to move to, I think, Aston Villa, but they only wanted to loan him.
Yeah.
And Bayern didn't want to loan him because they want to get rid of him.
Yeah.
But then I heard that he really wants to go back to Portugal, because I think he and his wife are split up, and the wife is in Portugal with the kids, and he wanted to Benfica, or I don't know, don't want to mess it up, but like Benfica or Porto.
Yeah, I think it was Benfica or Sporting, but
or Sporting, but the deal collapsed as well. I don't know why. Maybe it was the amount of cash they offered to Bayern. I don't know, but it collapsed, and I'm like I said, it's hard to say, but I don't want players who aren't committed, and players always say they are committed, and I'm like Amar Dedic today said, I want to fight for the club, and so on. But you can't really know. You have to trust the things the players tell you. I think we really often hear players saying that and didn't mean it, maybe. But if you are really sure, like Palhinha, where you could tell that we are his first choice, or we aren't his first choice, and maybe we are his just backup option, I'm not sure if you want him in this situation. I do think he can help us. I don't think he can really play this high pressure play style, but he could be a good anchor, even in this in this high pressure play style, because he can sit deep and do let the others do the work, and he will keep our clean sheets. Something like that. But if the player isn't committed and don't really want to come and just do it as a backup option to be back on the field and back on the TV, I would go away from this transfer.
Yeah, honestly, so would I. I have too many worries about Palhinha also as a player, that for me there are just better options on the market. Yes, he's an experienced midfielder in the Premier League, but even in his heyday for Fulham, he was the league leader for ball recoveries, for interceptions, for tackles, so that's terrific. But I actually think, and I know a couple of Fulham fans that say the same, Marco Silva wasn't necessarily too sad to see Palhinha go to Bayern. First of all, they got a lot of money for Palhinha. Second of all, yes, he fulfilled the role, winning back the ball, but he did it so specifically in his own way that Palhinha continuously, whenever he just sees the ball approaching him, he immediately just abandons his position and goes chasing after it, which is a an okay skill to have, I think, but also when midfield balance already is an issue for Newcastle United, if you then have two midfielders who consistently have to worry about filling in the gaps that this one Mad Hatter of a midfielder constantly leaves behind because he's chasing every single ball he can, I think that could leave us exposed yet again for a lot of things. And I also think that's exactly the reason why it was never going to work for him at Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have so much possession, have so much of the ball throughout 90 minutes, that you just simply don't need such a bulldog of a destroyer in the middle of the park when you can have a Joshua Kimmich or even Goretzka, who have a lot more, and I do mean a lot more, footballing ability to just keep that possession ticking over. And I do worry that Palhinha just simply wouldn't work for us. I think he would leave behind too many holes in our midfield. I think players like Miley and Stur would have to pay too much attention to the holes he's leaving behind, that it just simply wouldn't be worth it for me. Baleba, on the other hand, how would you like to see him come in? Or would you like to see him come in is the better question, probably.
Yeah, so I don't watch many games of him, but I saw the Brighton games when we played against them, and I saw some highlights. And yeah, the name is always cursing around in the Premier League as a really good prospect for the big teams. Like you mentioned before, Manchester United was very interested in the last week or 2 weeks of the transfer window last season, or last summer. I think, is his market value really like 53 million? I saw this morning that his
I
market
saw
value
the
is
same
around.
reports. I would honestly be surprised if it isn't more like 65, 70.
Yeah, we have for the viewers, it's always a bit difficult if we are talking in euros and you are talking in
Yeah,
pounds, and
yeah. I am
it's
talking
always
in pounds now.
no. So don't nail us on these numbers we are taking into consideration sometimes. How is it called? Baleba. So in euros, it's between 48 and 59 million. That's
That would
what,
be honestly be a steal, in my opinion. If you were
yeah, that.
to be able to get him for that money.
So Google is saying in pounds, it's like 55 million. No, 47 million pounds. Brighton's actual club valuation and asking price for the player range between 70 and 90 million pounds.
So a big
That's
gap in
crazy.
valuation.
I can't rate how good Google is now with this Google AI is with these numbers, but
Yeah.
I don't know if how long his contract is, but he's a really great player, and he could be a better fit than Palhinha just because all those things you mentioned for Palhinha. Like Palhinha is a bulldog, and he has a really unique playing style, and that's why I never really got why he transferred to Bayern, because they really have, maybe in some Champions League nights, but in the Bundesliga they have no need of this kind of player who's like bossing the midfield, the defensive midfield, because they have like 75% possession. And
Yes.
yeah, they get some counter attacks, but he will be out of position anyways because they are like playing handball around the 16 the box. So I really didn't never really understand this transfer, and maybe now he is thinking the same way. Um, but Baleba would be, in my opinion, a really good fit, and a way better fit just because of the things you mentioned. He's his football ability and his football IQ, I think, is way better. Just in this all-round case, not only maybe the defensive. I think in the defensive, in just the defensive case, Palhinha will be the better player, or has the better footballing IQ in the defensive playing style. But in overall, and like this box to box mentality and all these round stuff, I think there will be Baleba will be in front of that.
Yeah, completely agreed. It will be very interesting to see what midfielder comes in. You mentioned it yourself as well. There have been links yesterday night and today in the morning with Nicolas Siewald from Leipzig. This is another midfielder who has worked previously under Matthias Jaisle at Salzburg, so he'd be very interesting. Honestly, looking at his underlying stats over the last 4 years, let's say, I would love to see us bring in Siebald as well. He would be my budget alternative to Baleba, who I would be all over if I were Newcastle United. He runs like a madman. His ball recovery numbers are fantastic as well. He does know what it's like to stay in position. He can keep possession as well really nicely, can keep you ticking over really neatly. I love Seawald. I really, really do. And if push comes to shove and you really, really need something drastic, he could also operate at the fullback position. So I don't know. I mean, you've probably seen more of Seawald. So would you like to see him come to Newcastle?
Yeah, just looking into the numbers, I think if you're talking about market value and players' valuation from the club, if you really need to pay like 70, 80 million pounds for Baleba, you really have to take into consideration and like compare them next to each other. But because Seiwald's market value is around 20 million pounds. So if you can get him maybe for half the price of Baleba, you will really have to think about, is Baleba worth double the money?
Exactly, especially to us.
So that's would you splash like 80 million on Baleba? I think he's really, really good. And he's even with like 24 years, I think, still very young. But yeah, you have to pay maybe double the money what you have to pay for Niklas Seiwald. And I think then Seiwald will be the better option, just also taking into consideration what the SCR and PSR and whatever rules we have to follow.
Exactly.
How we are strained by that. And then I think there's no question that Niklas Seiwald would be the better option, just money-wise. Like the cost and how's it called in English? The cost-use ratio.
Yeah.
Something like that. So if you if you look into the stats, like if you really look at like don't do the deep dives. So just look into the stats like goals and assists. You wouldn't really be impressed from Niklas Seiwald.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned before, you have to do the deeper dive there and really go into the percentages, like winning balls, passing accuracy, versatility, all these things, to really get a picture of him. And I saw him in the Bundesliga. I didn't really focus him, but I had him in my kick-based team. It's like a fantasy, so like Bundesliga fantasy team.
Okay.
I never saw him scoring or assisting, I think, last season, but he always had his like 100 points is something like always a decent game. 100, if the player scores 100 points on this weekend, he had a really decent game. Like I think Kane mostly do like 400 points because he's scoring 5 goals every game. But 100 for a midfielder, 100 points is always, you say it's a solid game. And I think he had I think he had like 91 or 95 points in how is it called, the median from the whole season.
Yeah, on average.
Yeah, perfect, average.
Yeah,
easy word. Like he had like, I think he averaged like 95 points during the whole season, what is a really, really good number for a midfielder. I think fantasy football or fantasy soccer isn't always the perfect transfer market advice, but it gives you a picture or gives you a hint where to look at the player. And I think he would be a solid option with the bonus that he worked under Jaisle and he knows him and he knows his play style. I think we're building more and more like a German-speaking group in our club.
Yeah.
It's like, so we are, I think, who was the first one? Voltemade or nee, Malik Chow was
Malik
the
Chow
first one.
was the first one, yes. Then Voltemade came in, and now it's Iceland as well.
Yeah, now Jasle as well. Then we
And
get
I
maybe
mean,
Seiwald as an
chances are
Austrian.
Botman and Stur know some German as well, because they most
Yeah,
likely
Fabian
get
Scher
spoke
also,
in
like
Dutch.
as
Yeah,
a
yeah, of
Switzerland
course.
player. So yeah, we're building more and more German-speaking
Yeah,
group. I really
yeah,
like that. So let's continue with that.
yeah. Maybe Basu speaks some German as well from his time at Hoffenheim.
Yeah, perfect, perfect, perfect.
All right, so that means Seiwald is coming in for us. I would honestly love it. I'm completely fine with us signing Seiwald. I don't know yet how to pronounce it, but I guess he'll tell us whenever he does sign. Um, and then another winger and another centre back as well. I would love to see those come in myself. The centre back we touched upon last week, so if you did not see last week's episode, I suggest go ahead and have a look at that one, because both me and Shane had some pretty interesting suggestions for that centre back role. For the winger, however, do you have any wingers in mind you'd like to see come in?
Yeah, I have to ask a question upon that because I also this morning with Seiwald I read about Mikau Tatze.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
maybe it's the right pronunciation, but
it's pretty
if he
spot
comes,
on
he will
actually.
tell us. Is he really now like a number nine? I only read forward, but I don't.
Yeah, he is a
I'm
nine. He is an absolute out and out striker.
okay. Okay, yeah, I'm not really sure whether when English people talk about forward, if they
Mm,
always mean the number nine. Some
understandable.
people always mean like an offensive player. So
Some
okay,
even
he's
say
like number nine.
strikers for wingers, so I
Yeah,
get the confusion. Yeah,
would
but
would
he is
be
a genuine nine, an out and out center forward.
yeah. Yeah, if the people always would decide between striker
Mm,
or winger, it would be easier to
yeah,
clarify what
if
is
we
meant.
if we were looking at the Villarreal squad, however, I do think there is a winger over there who
Yeah, I know who you mean, but I don't have the name on my tongue now.
Alberto Molero.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
is
yeah.
the
I read
one.
the name
I
before. I think he was.
Yes.
Wasn't he linked with us in recent
Um,
rumors over the last weeks or months?
I don't. I mean, we've pretty much been linked with every player under the sun, so probably at
That's
some point
correct.
he most likely was. But he is absolutely brilliant. Villarreal do just have a knack of creating these unbelievably creative wide players. Look at Alex Baena now at Atletico. Look at Jeremy Pino at Crystal Palace. And I do think Alberto Molero, someone they bought only a year ago from Las Palmas to replace Jeremy Pino, is the next one on the conveyor belt of big money sales for them. He is really creative, both of that left hand side and of that right hand side. He's got a really nice delivery on the cross as well. He can get into the box himself if it's necessary. I really like him. But the one thing he doesn't necessarily have, which I would like us to look for as well, is the ability to beat a man. And not necessarily beat a man by just kicking the ball in front and beating him for pace. I genuinely mean having the technical ability to dribble your man and afterwards get the ball into the box, for example. So that's why I'm suggesting a late swoop, a late steal for AS Roma target Malik Fofana, because he is exactly that. He is the next Jeremy Doku level dribbly winger. You actually genuinely just pay money to go and watch inside of the stadium. To me, Malik Fofana is that good. He had an unbelievably disappointing last season, because I think around October, November time, he got tackled pretty bad and missed nearly the entire season with injury. But even ever since being back, you see how electric he is. You see how good he is. Both AS Roma, Atalanta, Leipzig, Galatasaray have been linked with his services. So he's clearly ready to move on despite not having the development he would have wanted himself last season. And just, I mean, trust me, he is an unbelievable dribbler. He really is.
He's a Belgian player, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just googled him because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to know where the rumors are going. I just read that they are like Fabrizio Romano
Mm-hmm.
stating that Roma and Lyon are like have found a deal.
Oh, they have an agreement?
That's what One Football is writing from
Yeah, I wouldn't be
yesterday.
surprised, to be fair. It is a Monday, so that usually is the day where transfer business does speed up.
Yeah, so maybe we can do the like Liverpool did with us and just hijack the deal.
That would be nice,
Um,
yeah.
but so the newspaper is writing that Fofana wants to go to Rome,
hmm
and he's very happy with the idea playing for Rome, something like that. But you never know. But yeah, he was with the Belgian team with the World Cup, right?
No, he wasn't. But
No.
that's pretty much solely down to his injury over the last season, because he is now a Belgian international and he does feature. But also Mika Gods, for example, who has now gone to PSG for 55 million from Ajax. He wasn't in the Belgium squad either, and
Okay.
it's all in the same position. It's that left wing position, and they all weren't taken because Rudy Garcia just decided I'll rotate in between Trossard and Doku, which is fair enough, to be fair, and I don't need anybody else.
Yeah, I think let's go for him. Yeah,
Mm.
if you, I don't really saw much of him, but
Yeah, I love him. I absolutely love him. Any other
when you,
suggestions? Any other wingers in European football you would like us to target, or abroad?
yeah, there could be a few, but I don't have them on mind spontaneous
No
now.
worries. That was a bit of a
But
putting you on the on the spot question.
no, everything's correct. But yeah, that's always my problem. But I saw my brain was working. We were linked. Like if you believe Google, we were linked with Molero in May 2025
Okay.
before he went to Villarreal.
Okay.
So yeah, in
Long-standing
this case,
interest.
maybe my brain worked and I really remembered the name from this rumors. Um, but yeah, I've always the problem when you ask me like which winger comes into mind, and I have like
Mm.
I know so many, but
Okay. In that
there's no name
case,
coming to my mind right now.
yeah,
But
that's
if you
completely
tell some names,
understandable, to
and
be
I
fair.
will say, yeah, that one is it.
Well, in that case, I will give you two names who we have
Okay.
actually been linked with on the wing position, and I would like you to choose between the two of them. And to me, I have a personal preference, but I don't necessarily know if that's a genuine personal preference or if this player is actually better with a higher ceiling. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let's do
So,
it.
how about deciding between Abde Ezalzouli at Real Betis and Antonio Nusa at Leipzig?
Yeah, we're milking the Leipzig connection.
A little bit, a little bit. Which,
um,
is there any of those two you'd like to see us go for?
so I think Nusa is the first one who comes into my mind now
Mm-hmm.
when I heard both names, because I heard both. But so Nusa is a Bundesliga player. I definitely saw him more often, and I saw him at the World Cup. Um, I was sure that there were some transfer rumors with other clubs, and he was nearly on the go in Leipzig, but
Yeah, at the start of
I'm
the
not
window,
quite
there
sure
were
now if I'm.
rumors with Roma, and I think like half a month later, he got linked to the Premier League.
Yeah, okay. But Roma now decided to go with the Belgian
Yeah, with
with
Fofana
Fofana
and
instead
with
of Nusa because it's the same
Rodrigo
position nearly.
Mora. Yeah, and with Mora from Porto, who is
Ah,
also
yeah.
kind of the same position. So they're pretty much stuck there
Ah,
too.
Ezalzouli is a Moroccan player. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was at the World Cup.
he was supposed to be, but he got injured right before the tournament kicked off.
Perfect. My brain is working. Too many players, too
Yeah.
many names, too many games. Yeah. So first impression, I would take Nusa just because I know him better and
Mm-hmm.
I saw him play more often. Um, he's mainly on the left wing, if I'm right.
Yep.
Um, but I'm sure I saw him on the right side with Leipzig as well
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. So I would go for Nusa. I don't know the market valuation or the price that Leipzig is thinking of. They're normally good at business,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe it won't be that kind of a steal. Um,
I mean, I reckon around 50, 55 million, probably.
yeah.
the winger market, the price you paid for Elanga?
I think, yeah, I would say we play. That's what I thought of. We spent the same money on Elanga and nearly double the money on Voltemade.
Yeah.
So why not? Yeah, he has potential. He's young. He has now developed 2 years in Leipzig. I don't really like the club, but it's a good like it's a good club to develop
Yeah,
yourself.
it's a good breeding ground.
Yeah, especially in this Red Bull universe where you can start in the Austrian league in Leipzig, in Salzburg, and then you get shadily transferred for some kind of book money
Yeah.
to Leipzig, and they pull the players from left to right. I think it's
Mm,
always a bit shady, but yeah, as a player, you don't really think about that, and you don't really
exactly. Yeah.
care about that. You just care about your development, and that's a good place for them. So yeah, but I don't know if he wants to come because they just sold Diomande to Real Madrid.
Hmm.
So I think he sees a chance there to do just another year and get even more playing time there.
Could be.
So yeah,
Yeah, could absolutely be the case. If I was to Honestly, if I was to decide between the two of them, I wouldn't really know. My personal preference goes to Antonio Nusa, but that's because I already watched him back when he was at Club Brugge before going to Leipzig. I just love the kind of player he is, but in terms of what Newcastle might need, I think
yeah. If you say you need, we do need more. So if you say, sorry for interrupting you, but
no
yeah,
worries.
if you say, like, I think Nusa is more like an Anthony Gordon, maybe
Mm-hmm.
like fast player, and not, he's technical. His technical ability is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Bundesliga player, of course, but he's more like this Anthony Gordon style of play, like
Mm-hmm.
pushing the ball forward and doing it with pace.
Yeah.
Um, I think that what is his name is
Is Alzuli.
is Azuli. Yeah, like it could be like a cliche. I don't know how it's called in English, but this he's a Moroccan player. More normally they are like more technical. They are
Mm-hmm.
doing some more skill moves and something like that.
Yeah.
They're more
Silky.
dribblings, something like that. I think then Ezazuli could be the better option if
Mm-hmm.
you are talking about we need what we really need. Like
Yeah.
we need someone who beats his men, who do this one-on-one
Mm-hmm.
situations and beat the players there to create chances, like Elanga is trying to do most of the times, or sometimes even. Then Ezazuli could be the better option. But I'm nearly maybe have to watch some highlights, but from my perception now, I think
Mm. Yeah,
like as a Moroccan.
I think you're pretty spot on as well. He's got a great footballing pedigree, having had his development in the youth academy of Barcelona. So a La Masia Academy graduate always has a pretty fine technique when it comes to playing football. So yeah, honestly, either one of those I'd be completely fine with. We are 48 minutes in, so I suggest we start previewing the first game of the 2026-27 season. It's a Saturday night kickoff, a Sunday night kickoff even, I'm sorry. It's at home at St. James's Park where we are hosting Liverpool FC with the Rat himself up top. First of all, before we get into specifics, what is your prediction for this game?
Like, we know each other like more than a year now, and um, normally I'm so positive,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm always this optimistic person who says, "Yeah, we can win this in this case, and if we do this right, we can beat them or something like that." But I'm like Jaisle said, and like I said before, I'm not really positive for the first at least 2 games. I think
Mm-hmm.
we need those 2 games to develop a strategy, to develop some tactics, to casually and gradually bring the players where he wants them to be. So I'm not really confident. I think Liverpool they have their squad ready, completely ready
Mm.
for the new season, and I just hope that they won't roll over us. I'm early.
Yeah, I mean, I do get that fear. However, I also do want to add that Liverpool haven't had a good window either. They have lost Salah, haven't replaced him yet. Barcola is not through the door yet. The only attacking reinforcement they have at this moment in time is Victor Munoz, who is pretty much the exact same player as Bazou Touré, in my opinion. So, fine. Gakpo seems like he's off to Spurs, so will he play, won't he play? Will that mean that we face a front line of the Reds with Rio and Victor Munoz on either side, which is fast but also extremely inexperienced in the Premier League? Their midfield balance to me still is way, way off and is something we absolutely should be looking to exploit because Gravenberg McAllister simply doesn't work. You don't have enough energy, you don't have enough legs in that midfield, and then you're playing a 10 in front of them instead of a 6 behind them. So whether that's Soboslai or Wirtz, I mean, I hope it's Wirtz, because that usually means Soboslai plays in the 8, which is even less balanced. And then there's the fullbacks that are a massive worry, or actually even the entire defense is a massive worry for Liverpool, because the fullbacks are Kerkez and Frimpong, who are coming off of pretty much the worst opening season you can have in a Liverpool shirt. They don't have any backups. They don't have a single backup right back. Their backup left back is Kostas Tsimikas, who came back from his loan spell. And, they do have Conor Bradley, but he's still injured, as he always is. And at centre back, they've got Van Dijk, who, if he gets injured, if Van Dijk was to miss a chunk of the season, all of their centre back options would include Jeremy Jacquet, who's just been injured for 7 months, Gio Leone, who has just been injured for 12 months, Ronald Araujo, who is just injured his entire career, and Joe Gomez, who I can literally say the exact same thing of. So what is the plan here? What is the long-term strategy or even the short-term thinking for this Liverpool defense? So in my opinion, yes, I completely understand we as a club aren't ready. We really aren't ready for the start of the season. But let's be honest, apart from Arsenal, who is in this Premier League? Who really is ready to start? Because Manchester City are still in a massive transition period where Rodri is now leaving along with Pep, and pretty much Elliot Anderson is the only player who has come in to replace him. We saw in the Community Shield, Manchester City looked way, way off their regular pace. And okay, it's the Community Shield, it's a pretty much glorified friendly, but still, there are some really damning conclusions to be had out of that game. Liverpool, again, I'm not necessarily too sure what they're going to do. Yes, one positive you do have to mention with them is Andoni Iraola coming in as their coach, but he again is going to need a bit more time to imprint his system back into these players, because it is the radical opposite of what Arne Slot wanted these players to do. And then even going further down the table, clubs like Manchester United, who now have to, first of all, haven't had the best of windows, and second of all, and now have European football to contend with for the next season. Aston Villa, who have had a pretty big rebuild with their playing staff, losing the likes of Morgan Rogers, Luca Digne, Ezri Konsa still being linked with a move away, Yuri Tielemans going to Manchester United. All of those clubs are in massive transition periods, so when we say Newcastle isn't ready for this season, we're not alone. We really aren't. So I do have a bit more optimism for the upcoming season. I actually even think we maybe could scrape out a draw against Liverpool. But I do think Dr. Spurs will have us in the second game, which is a really, really weird thing to say, but I am quite scared, especially of early season Spurs. I think they will collapse at some point. They won't be in Champions League contention anymore by the turn of the year, but early season Spurs could be pretty scary.
So I would rather lose to Liverpool in the first game and beat the crap out of Tonali in the second game.
Would you rather beat Tonali or beat Isaac? That's a big
Yeah,
question.
but I think Isaac has got his how's it called?
His karma.
Yeah, he got yeah, that's how you can call it. So he got his yeah, he got his karma from with his injury and with his really bad and shit season last year. So, and we don't know if he gets injured in the next week or in this week during a training session, something like that. We never know.
Or during a clash at St. James's.
Yeah, within after 10 minutes or something. But yeah, so I think he got his karma, and then now I would go over to Tonali and would be happy to beat him. But yeah, I have to admit I have got some more optimism now after hearing your analysis of those like clubs with problems.
Yeah,
So that we aren't the only club with who's having big problems in the summer window. I think always those World Cup windows are always a bit chaotic.
Absolutely.
And those preseason camps are always the same chaotic as the window because of players coming back and players in holiday and all those kind of stuff. And I would love to beat Liverpool or to like you said, to scrap a draw from them. But yeah, I'm not that optimistic. Still not that optimistic, just because everyone had problems. But I think with a new coach coming in mid preseason and the World Cup thing and the transfer market and all those things coming together, all these friendlies, not really having time on the training pitch, really to implement the basics. Like you always have time, you always need time to really implement the basics. So we have the good thing is that we didn't change the coach completely, like I mentioned in the beginning, that we changed the personality of the coach, but not really the playing style, so not that much. So it's not like 100% change where all these players need to reconnect their brains what the coach is thinking of me or wanting from me. But I just think we have to be. So the first two podcasts won't be that nice, I think, but let's see what the time brings. I think the time will tell, and I think the time will tell us good things. But we have to be calm and strong and tank it. Yeah. The first 1-2 games, maybe 3 games. We have to be patient.
I do tend to agree. All right, to finish off today's episode, then I want to introduce a new section for every episode from now on, where we do our score predictions for the weekend's game for Newcastle United, and over a whole season I will keep scores, me against basically the Magpie 24/7 group chat. So I will figure out how the scoring system works over the next week. But what I need from you now is the exact scoreline that Newcastle Liverpool is going to finish and the goal scorers.
All the goal scorers, or just the first goal scorer?
The goal scorers, all of them.
From us.
And from Liverpool.
Yeah. So many questions. Okay. I said I won't be optimistic, but I won't be too pessimistic. So I would say we will see a home goal in the opening game. But it won't be enough, so it will be a 1-2. I have to do it for us. Scoring, it's Nick Woltemade.
Yes.
And I have to really. How is it called? I have to with my brain. I have to
picture the Liverpool squad.
No. I think it was talking about Woltemade, but I don't really know the German name, what I want to say. But for the Liverpool squad, I think I'm doing the chaos thing now. I think Isak is scoring 1 goal. And who do we have? What do we talked about? We have Hakpo, who is maybe away. Yeah, come on. Victor Munoz.
Oh dear. This game is going to suck a lot for us, I see.
Yeah, not score-wise, but just how the way it went.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
Isak and Munoz celebrating together in front of Gallagher. And we don't want to take it too deep. I know what I wanted to say to Voldemar. I just need to manifest that he has a good season. So
That's what you're doing. Okay, I see.
yeah, so that's why he needs to score.
I'm manifesting with you.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. I am going to go for a 2-2 draw. The Liverpool goal scorers, let's get them out of the way first. I'm going for Rio and Gumoa scoring against us for the second season in a row, and Soboslai scoring a goal. And for us, I've gone with Wissa and Elanga to score the goals.
Yeah, we have to manifest those both
Exactly.
as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of manifesting to do still right before the season starts from a Newcastle perspective.
You always have to have the faith.
Exactly. Even if it's not warranted. And on that note, I think that's where we are going to leave it for today. If you did enjoy this episode, please make sure to, if you listen on Spotify, leave a 5-star review, leave a comment as well. If you watch this on YouTube, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel as well, and leave a comment down below what you think Newcastle will do on the first match day against Liverpool. Please leave your score predictions down there as well. Maybe if we have enough score predictions, we can actually include some people into our mini league of predictions. And yeah, head on over to Magpie 24/7 on all other social media platforms as well: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You know the deal. And we will see you next week with
the drill.
And we will see you next
you
week.
Guys. Thank you.
Have a good one.